Hey everyone, and welcome back. We're going to be diving deep into AI today. Specifically, these LLMs everyone's been talking about, like, ChatGPT.
Right.
It's pretty wild how good they're getting at sounding like, well, us, like actual humans. It seems like every day there's a new article about how they're going to, like, revolutionize everything.
Yeah, it's definitely been moving fast.
But recently, there's been this kind of a, I don't know, like a Sputnik moment kind of thing with this Chinese company called DeepSeek.
Mm-hmm.
And they're claiming they're hitting the same level as the big U.S. companies, but with way less computing power and, like, way cheaper.
Yeah, that's been a big shock in the AI world. Seems like DeepSeek's doing things really differently. It's causing a lot of people to take notice.
So for this deep dive, we're gonna unpack all that, right? What is it they're doing, and what does it mean for, like, the whole future of AI?
Right.
But first, like, where did these guys even come from?
Well, the story kind of starts with this Chinese hedge fund, High Flyer. They had the smarts to, like, stockpile all these NVIDIA GPUs. Oh, wow.
Before the U.S. Sanctioned China, it was a genius move that set the stage for DeepSeek's AI stuff, really.
So they were already thinking way ahead, even before DeepSeek officially launched in 2023. And get this, they trained their V3 model for just over $5 million.
Wow.
That's basically unheard of. I mean, Meta spent like over $50 million on their latest AI thing, right?
Right.
So DeepSeek's kind of proving you don't need to be this like giant company to play in the AI space. What's even more interesting is, like, they haven't rushed to, like, put out a product. They've been really focused on research.
Yeah, that's a really unusual approach, especially in tech. Usually it's all about getting the next big thing out there.
Right.
But it looks like that long-term approach is working, because they already released an AI assistant app, and it shot right to the top of the charts.
I mean, that's people actually using it, right? That's a pretty clear sign their technology is, actually good. It's not just hype.
Yeah, definitely. So, all right, let's look under the hood. What is the tech behind DeepSeek's AI models?
So they've developed two models, V3 and R1. Both of them are designed to be really efficient, and they can handle, like, pretty complex stuff like language processing, even logical reasoning.
But what makes them so efficient? We keep hearing that.
Yeah, so one of their big innovations is called multi-head latent attention, MLA. It's basically a much more efficient way to process information than the standard attention mechanism most AI models use.
Okay.
Like, imagine you're trying to find, I don't know, like a specific book in a huge library.
Right.
MLA is kind of like this, like a super efficient librarian that takes you right to the right spot without having to look through every single book.
So it's all about helping the AI focus on what's actually important, cutting down on all that wasted, processing power and time.
Exactly.
Okay. And you mentioned they also have this MOE architecture.
Right, MOE. That stands for Mixture of Experts. It's kind of like having a whole bunch of specialized AI experts, each of them trained in a different area.
Mm-hmm.
So when you give it a task, the system automatically sends it to the right expert. Huh. Like, think of it like going to the hospital. You come in with a heart problem. They don't, send you to a dermatologist.
Oh, no.
They send you to a cardiologist.
Right.
So MOE works in a similar way, makes the AI much more efficient and much more accurate.
So they're combining a laser focus with, like, super specialized experts. It's like they built an AI dream team.
Exactly.
This efficiency thing, I mean, that could really change the game, right? If you could make AI models that are just as powerful but use way less computing power, I mean, that opens up so many possibilities.
Absolutely. It could make AI development accessible to a lot more people, smaller companies, research teams.
Right.
And that could lead to, a lot more innovation.
More innovation. And then, on top of all that, they decided to go open source.
Right.
So they're making all their technology, their research, available for anyone to use, to build upon.
Right.
Which is so different from, like, a lot of these U.S. companies that are keeping everything, secret. What do you think's behind that?
It's definitely a bold move, and it could really change things. It's probably part of their strategy to create a more collaborative AI landscape, and that could, it could shift the balance of power in the AI world. By opening up their tech, they're basically encouraging everyone to work together.
Right.
And that could, speed things up a lot, which could be good for everybody.
It's like they're saying, hey, let's all work together to make AI better.
Right.
Which is a pretty cool idea. But I know some people are nervous about this whole open source thing too. We'll get into those concerns and some of the potential risks a little later.
Yeah, there are always two sides to every coin, right? There's huge potential for good, but we also need to be really careful about, how this technology could be misused.
For sure, for sure. But for now, let's stick with the positive stuff. So we've seen how DeepSeek has managed to hit this incredible efficiency,
Right.
right, with their MLA and MOE.
Right.
And their open source approach is definitely, it's like a breath of fresh air. I mean, it could lead to this whole new, more collaborative and accessible AI world.
Yeah.
But, DeepSeek's making a splash. They're not exactly flying under the radar. The big tech companies, they're definitely noticing.
Hmm.
So in the next part of our deep dive, we'll get into how the market's reacting, and we'll see what DeepSeek's impact's been on the whole global AI landscape. Stay tuned.
Mm-hmm.
So welcome back. We've been talking about DeepSeek's, approach to AI and that focus on efficiency and that surprising open source move.
Right.
They're definitely shaking things up.
Right.
But how are the big guys, like how are they reacting?
Well, the market reactions have been, pretty dramatic. NVIDIA, the company that makes those GPUs that DeepSeek so cleverly stockpile,
Right.
they saw their stock drop by almost 20%.
Wow.
And Broadcom took a hit, too. It seems
Yeah.
like investors are starting to realize that DeepSeek's a real threat.
Yeah, I mean, $1 trillion, like, wiped off American stocks after DeepSeek's announcement. That's not just a little, blip.
Right.
That's a tidal wave. But it's not just about, like, the money, right?
Yeah.
I mean, some of the biggest names in U.S. AI have actually, like, praised DeepSeek. Satya Nadella at Microsoft, Sam Altman from OpenAI. They've both said, they admire what DeepSeek's doing.
That's really interesting. Like, even with all the competition, there's still that respect, you
Yeah.
know? It's like they're acknowledging that DeepSeek's a real contender. Like, they're pushing the limits of what's possible.
Yeah, yeah. Even former President Trump weighed in, called DeepSeek a wake-up call for the U.S. So, I mean, it seems like DeepSeek's success has become this whole, national pride thing.
Yeah, it definitely has an economic competitiveness angle to it, too.
Right, right. But let's shift gears a little bit and talk about some of the potential downsides, right? Because there have been some concerns about DeepSeek being used for, like, spreading misinformation or even for surveillance by the Chinese government.
Right. Those are definitely valid concerns. I mean, this whole thing highlights, the ethical side of AI, which can be pretty complex. I mean, any powerful technology can be misused, and AI is no exception.
Right. And DeepSeek has been criticized for censoring topics that are, considered sensitive in China, like the Tiananmen Square protests. Their AI assistant app reportedly avoids these topics completely. It's almost like there's this invisible hand, guiding the conversation, keeping it within certain boundaries.
Right. And that raises these really important questions about bias in their models, you know, because if the data they're trained on is, censored or filtered, that could really skew the results.
Right, like the AI is only as good as the data it learns from.
Exactly. If the data is incomplete or biased in some way, then the AI's output's going to reflect that.
Right, right. And then there's the whole data privacy issue. DeepSeek's privacy policy allows them to collect a lot of user data, like text, audio, even your chat history, and all that data gets transferred to servers in China.
Yeah, data privacy is a big concern with any AI system, but it's especially sensitive when you have a company operating in a country with different laws and regulations about data protection.
Right, right. And just to be clear, like we're not making any judgments here. We're just laying out the facts and the different perspectives so you can form your own opinion.
Right.
So we've seen how DeepSeek's really shaken up the AI world. But what does all this mean for the future of the technology?
Well, I think DeepSeek's emergence signals a real shift in the global AI landscape. It's not just about who has the most advanced algorithms anymore. It's also about who can develop and deploy AI in the most efficient, cost-effective way.
Right.
And DeepSeek's shown that you don't need to be this tech giant with with unlimited resources to compete.
Right. And their open source approach could really change the game, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
by sharing their knowledge, their technology, they're encouraging collaboration, they're speeding up innovation. It's so different from the secrecy that we see a lot in the tech world.
Right.
But that openness also comes with risks, right?
It does.
We've talked about the potential for misuse, for bias. There's also the whole question of intellectual property.
Right.
Like if everyone has access to the same technology, how do you protect your innovations?
That's a really key challenge. Open source models can really level the playing field, but they also create a whole different kind of competitive landscape. So companies are going to have to find new ways to stand out, to create value.
Right, right. So it seems like DeepSeek's arrival is bringing both opportunities and challenges for the future of AI.
Yeah.
It's a really fascinating, complex story, and it's still unfolding.
It is.
So in the next part of our deep dive, we're going to explore the broader implications of DeepSeek's emergence. And we'll think about what it means for the future of AI on a global scale.
All right, welcome back. We've been spending this deep dive really getting to know DeepSeek, this Chinese AI company that's, kind of turning heads with their efficient tech and that whole open source thing.
Right, right.
And we've talked about, the impressive stuff they've done and some of those potential risks. But now I kind of want to zoom out a little, look at the bigger picture,
Yeah. Because DeepSeek, it's not just a tech story, right?
No, it's definitely not. It's a geopolitical story too. It really shows how things are changing in the global AI landscape.
Right.
I mean, for years the U.S. has been the leader in AI.
Right.
But DeepSeek's kind of, coming out of nowhere. It signals this potential power shift. It's like the AI world suddenly got a new superpower.
Oh yeah.
And the competition is really heating up.
And remember that $1 trillion stock market dip.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that's investors, like, they're taking this seriously. DeepSeek's success it's definitely got people worried.
Yeah, it's definitely rattled some cages.
So DeepSeek's, they're changing things, not just in tech, but like on a global scale. They're making everyone step up their game.
Right.
Which, I mean, that could be a good thing, right? Like more innovation, faster progress.
Yeah, competition can be it can be a really powerful driver for innovation.
Right. But there's a darker side to this competition too, right?
Yeah.
Some experts are worried that this race for AI dominance, it could turn into a tech arms race with countries focusing more on military uses and not so much on the good stuff that AI could do.
Yeah, it's a real concern. I mean, we're already seeing AI being used in military applications, and there is a risk that this could escalate.
Right, right. It's a little scary to think about, but let's not get too pessimistic.
Right.
I mean, AI is a tool, right? Like any tool, it can be used for good or bad. It really comes down to the choices we make, the values we have, and what kind of safeguards we put in place.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's up to us as a society to make sure that AI is developed and used responsibly.
Right.
We need to talk about the risks, the benefits. We need to have those open conversations, and we need to come up with some clear rules, some guidelines.
And that's where DeepSeek's whole open source approach, that could be really important.
Yeah, definitely.
Because by sharing their technology, their research, they're making things more transparent.
Right.
And they're encouraging collaboration, which is so important for responsible AI development.
Exactly. It's like they're saying, hey, let's all work together to make sure that AI benefits everyone, not just, a select few.
Right, right. So DeepSeek's story, it's complicated.
It is.
They're pushing the boundaries, they're challenging how things are usually done, and they're making us all rethink the future of AI. They've done some amazing things, but they've also, brought up some real concerns.
Yeah, and it's a good reminder that this whole AI thing, it's new territory. The technology it's moving so fast, and we're still trying to figure out all the ethical and societal implications.
Right. So as we wrap up this deep dive, I kind of have this feeling of, I don't know, wonder, excitement, and maybe a little bit of caution.
Yeah.
Because DeepSeek's shown us that the future of AI, it's full of possibilities.
Right.
But there are definitely some challenges along the way.
Yeah, and it's up to all of us to make sure that AI is used for good, to solve problems, to make lives better, and to create a more just and sustainable future.
Well said. So as always, we encourage you to keep exploring, keep asking questions, and keep diving deep. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into DeepSeek. Until next time.